Was good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to say thank you, God, for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I got a super special build lined up for y'all. Gonna be called the Paint Beast, and I'm telling you, this is gonna be considered a Giannis type build, but also one of the best centers in all of 2K this year. Now, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications because I'm uploading every single day. And don't forget to smash that like button. Now, I would appreciate it if everybody went ahead and commented down TG for thank God. And drop down as well, where are you tuning in from watching today? And I'm most definitely going to hit y'all with a response. So today, let's go ahead and get started. Y'all already seen the gameplay in the background of this build and what it's able to do. But I'm going to make it out of the center position. Now, I know we can make it out of the power forward, but I honestly think going forward with the center, this is going to be better overall. Now, when it comes down to the jersey number, it does not matter. Same thing when it comes down to left or right-handed. But when it comes down to the actual physicals, I'm going to go with the height of 6'11" and then with a 245 weight. Now, if you want to, you can adjust these differently from how I'm going about it. But I think once you go with the 7'9" wingspan, this is going to make the build even better, especially on the defensive end. Now, once we go ahead and get into the body shape, normally I like to go with builds, but look, even if you wanted to go with defined, that's perfectly okay. The one that takes up the most space for this one is going to be built, so let's go ahead and keep it like that. Now, when it comes down to the actual breakdown of the attributes, just be sure that you copy everything down. I'm going to go with the 73. Then when it comes down to my acceleration, I did go with the 66, and this is pretty much maxed out as well. Now, when it comes down to the strength, this is really optional, so I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way up to an 89, and that right there already gives us a few gold badges. Now, when it comes down to the finishing, we actually do get Backdown Punisher and Bully both on gold. That's going to be perfect because when it comes down to the vertical, you need to make sure that you go with an 82, and this is going to allow us to get all of the elite contact dunks as far as when it comes down to the vertical. Now, I'm going to put this to a 94, but if you want to, you can even go ahead and raise this to a 97. Now, I think this is going to be perfect for the way that I set the build up, but first, I'm going to actually go ahead and get into the breakdown of the finishing. So with the standing dunk, if you want to be able to get all of the big man elite contact dunks, go with the 95. Now, when it comes down to the driving dunk, I'm going to go with the 93, and this right there is going to allow us to get posterizer on gold. Now, as for the driving layup, I'm going to go with an 80. This really comes down to if you want to be able to get Giant Slayer on Hall of Fame. And then for badge purposes, I'm going to go with the close shot of a 74. Now, that upgrades some of the shooting, but again, look at the badges that we're able to get. I'm happy that we get out of tier 1 limitless takeoff. That's only going to cost us 3 badges. When it comes down to pro touch, this is only going to cost us 4, and then we're also able to get slithery. Now, like I said, Giant Slayer, and then we also get fearless finisher with posterizer. But the main badges that I'm looking at right here are going to be bully and then as well as back down punisher. Now, if you want to, you can pretty much change this to your own liking, but I'm going to leave it like this. Now look, when it comes down to the shooting, if we're thinking of Giannis when he was first coming into the NBA, he was a great finisher all around, but when it comes down to the shooting stats, you can make the adjustments to get this around the 70s, even the 80s, but I really feel like that's going to take away from the rest of the build. So for this one, I'm going to leave it without the shooting just to show off more when it comes down to the finishing and the defense, but I'm telling y'all, with the playmaking, we're still going to be able to make some moves. So for my pass accuracy, I'm going to go with the 78. When it comes down to the ball handle, I'm going to go with the 70, and this right here is going to allow us to get some of the pro dribble moves. Now, as you can see, we're also able to get quick first step, but again, I'm trying to make this build the tallest possible. I'm not really going for when it comes down to the badges and animations. I'm trying to make it exactly like Giannis when it comes down to the height and weight, even more so when it comes down to the wingspan. Now, when it comes down to the speed with ball, I'm going to go with the 63, and that gives us 15 badges. Now, out of tier 1, we get Client Breaker on bronze as well as handles for days. Then when it comes down to tier 2, we get quick first step as well as vice grip. Now, for tier 3, this really comes down to the way that you want to look at this build, but I'm going to also say that unpluckable is pretty important. Now, if you max out this build exactly how I'm showing you for the playmaking, we're going to be able to have just enough badges to leave on unpluckable, but down the road, you can even use this as a core badge if you wanted to. So when it comes down to the defense, I definitely have to say that this is going to be the strongest area. So for the interior, I'm going to go with an 89. Now, when it comes down to the perimeter defense, I'm going to go with the 72. Now, you necessarily do not need to do that. You can go anywhere from like a 66, I would say. Now, when it comes down to the perimeter defense, I'm going to go with the 72. But if you wanted to bring this down to a 76, Now when it comes down to the perimeter defense, I'm going to go with the 72, but if you want to bring it down to a 67, you can do that, but again, I would rather prefer a build with higher perimeter defense. Now when it comes down to the steal, this is going to be maxed out at a 73, and then when it comes down to my block, I'm going to put this to a 93. Now as far as for what we wanted out of this build, we have the contact dunks, also going to be able to dribble. Now we're not finished just yet with the defensive end, but we're going to be able to play pretty well on the inside. Even when it comes down to the perimeter, we're still going to be able to guard any build 1 through the 5 as well as get some steals. Now when it comes down to the defensive rebound, I'm going to go with the 94, and this also brings up our offensive. So I'm going to go with an 85 right here, and as you can see, we get a total of 30 badges. Now this is going to max out the build completely if you followed how I brought it to y'all, but as you can see, out of tier 1, we get Challenger, Glove, and Interceptor. Then for tier 2, we also get Box Out Beast and Chase Down Artist on Hall of Fame. Now for tier 3, we get Anchor, Brick Wall, Rebound Chaser, Pogo Stick. All of these are going to be essential for this build, especially if you're trying to max this build out completely. Now all of these are great badges to use for different playstyles, so I think this build really maxes out to be one of the best all around. Now if you want to make any changes and adjustments, do it after we create it together, but when it comes down to the takeovers, as you can see right here, we get the slashing, also going to be able to get the playmaking, rim protecting with the glass cleaning. Now before we pick our takeovers, take this into consideration. If you buy your own boost, that's a +4, and if you run with teammates that do have on Hall of Fame floor general, that's +8 without your takeover boost as well as anything else. So we do have the potential of getting a 100+ standing dunk and driving dunk. When it comes down to the interior defense, if you go with the rim protecting, you'll be able to get a 100+ interior defense. Now the same thing is going to be said for the block as well as both our offensive and defensive rebound, but it all comes down to which takeovers that you pick. So for my liking, to make this build the best possible, first I would really consider picking rim protecting, or you can even go with the slashing. Now to be more fun overall, I would definitely have to say that finishing moves is going to be the one that I would pick, especially to be more like Giannis. Then when it comes down to the second one, if you want to be able to get the most out of the dribbling, go with team ratings boost. Now let's go ahead and check out the build to make sure that we made it correctly. And I'm telling you, we're also able to get 3 great comparisons: Shaq, Clint Capella, as well as Robert Williams. And as you can see, we have made the Paint Beast build at 6'11" out of the center position. Now if you wanted to make it out of the power forward, you definitely can do so, but I'm telling you, the way that I'm bringing it to you right now, gonna be the best as far as for the center position, and I truly believe all around. Now before we get into the badges, if you like this build, be sure to drop a like right now. Let me know in the comments what would you change about it and what do you like about it the most. But from here, let's go ahead and check out what this build looks like at 99 overall. So just a quick look when it comes down to the finishing. Easily you'll see that the driving dunk and the standing dunk are the strongest of this build. Now when it comes down to this build at 99 overall, I'm telling you, has everything that we need out of it. Now if you want to make the adjustments to get more out of the shooting, you definitely can do so, but again, you're going to take a risk on taking some away from the defense or the finishing. I wouldn't do either of the two, but let's go ahead and get into the badges. So when it comes down to the finishing, the way that I went about it for tier 1, gold limitless takeoff as well as slithery. Then we also put on pro touch. Now for tier 2, I went with posterizer. You definitely have to leave this on. And then for tier 3, bully. Now when it comes down to the final badge, we have 1 core badge that we're able to use. So I would pick between fast twitch or even rise up. Now if you wanted to, you can core bully, and then we have 7 extra badges to remain. Now if you wanted to, you can go with either back down punisher and fearless finisher. Look, here's one setup, so back down punisher on gold, or you can go with fearless finisher on silver. And then when it comes down to right here for tier 1, you're able to add on any of these badges, and I'm going to go with giant slayer on gold. So for the defensive end, I'm going to go with bronze ankle braces, challenger, glove, as well as interceptor. Now this is pretty perfect because it only cost us 4 badges to use 4 different badges in general. Then when it comes down to tier 2, Hall of Fame box out beast as well as chase down artist. And then when it comes down to tier 3, I went ahead and put my core badge as brick wall. Then the other 2 are going to be gold anchor as well as rebound chaser. Now if you want to change it up, you can go with pogo stick, but it really comes down to your own preference of badges again. But this is what the build is going to be looking like. We get a total of 22 for the finishing. We didn't put anything towards the shooting, but that was on purpose just so we're able to get more out of the playmaking. And then when it comes down to this area, we get 15 and then 30 for the defensive. So if you enjoyed this build, be sure to go ahead and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. But if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. And then, man, I'm telling y'all, I'm uploading every single day, so go ahead and turn on post notifications. Y'all definitely don't want to miss the builds that I'm coming at y'all with. And I would appreciate it if everybody went ahead and smashed that like button. But again, I just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you, God, for another day and another opportunity. And with all that being said, man, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.